mules.
Okay, Boker Tov. Today's daf is Pei 80. We start at the top of the daf. We're dealing with cases, the previous Mishnah about somebody who arranged to, actually one Mishnah about somebody who arranged, to work, to take a dog in a certain place and take it in another place, and there was a degree of negligence, and they're liable for what comes next, right? And then the other issue at the end of that Mishnah was under what circumstances, if something happens to the donkey, which is not the fault of the renter, does the owner have to replace it? So now we get on to similar questions about changing things in liability, but it's not actually about the donkey, it's about certain equipment that comes with the animal. So let's take a look. You rented the cow to plow in the mountain, and you plowed in the valley. So in the valley is presumably an easier place to plow. So in Nishbar HaKankan, if the kankan, which Rashi says it means it's sort of like the peg that is used at the back of the plow to make the furrow, okay? So apparently what would happen, the way Rashi explains it, is that one person would lead the cow and the other person would hold the peg in the back and hold it like firm, and then the pulling of the cow would cause a furrow. And both of these people, the person driving the cattle or whatever, and the person in the back seat, would both be rented out by the owner of the cow. So you are renting from me, it's like when, well, this is not exact mashal, but, you rent from a guy, the U-Haul. I think actually when you rent the U-Haul, you have to pay extra for the equipment you want to come with it. Anyway, but you rent from me a cow, and I rent with you the equipment and the workers and the whole thing. It's a whole package deal, okay? So you're exempt in that case because you actually made the job easier than what's expected. If, however, you said to do it in the valley, you did it in the mountain, and the mountain is more stony and there's more, it's more dangerous for the equipment. So then if that peg breaks, you're liable. Let's say I hired the cow to thresh, to like walk on the grain in order to break the kernels from the husks. Okay, and I did it in order to do it for legumes, and I did it for grain. Putter, then I'm exempt because presumably it's easier to crush the grain than it is to crush the legumes.
What happened?
Okay. Oh, and then thank you. That's not clear. It's from the end we see that the cow slipped. So here we're back to the issue that something happened to the cow. Ladush betua v'dash bekitnis. So it's actually not a question of hard or not hard. It's how slippery it is, right? So to do it on grain, I did it on legumes. Chayav, I'm chayav nesha kitnis mechalekes because legumes are slippery. All right. So it doesn't seem to be anything. What?
They're softer.
They're softer.
Yeah.
So it still doesn't seem to be anything so new from what we've seen before. Let's see the Gemara. The Gemara says like this. Let's say you didn't do anything different. You did it according to the, to what the terms of the arrangement was, and this peg still broke. Who pays? Now remember, by the way, I, the renter, have not done anything. I rented it. You gave me your cow with your two workers here, okay, Reuven and Shimon, and they were plowing and it broke. So, so there, I didn't do anything wrong. We did the arrangement. It broke. So, you should say, okay, so I don't pay. End of story. No, here's the story is. The owner wants to get compensated by the workers. He says to his workers, you guys were irresponsible. You weren't careful enough. You broke it. Okay, you could have been, so therefore, and the way Rashi explains it is, although again, I don't know if this is why we assume this is necessarily the case, that the driver must have taken it a little bit off course. If it was going totally straight, it wouldn't have broken. At the same time, the guy with the peg, if he was paying attention, then even when the thing moved off course, he could have been more careful. But by not paying attention, once it moved off course and he was like, didn't sort of adjust, that caused it to break. Okay, so it's a good question, right? You turned too quickly. You didn't adjust. Who's like they're both sort of, that's why it's always hard to have a code, to have a code pilot or whatever, right? So it's because one guy's pulling this way, one guy's pulling that way. So who's to blame in that case?
But I remember saying that it is the workers who were responsible.
Right. I mean, there could be a case where they're both an honest, but here the assumption is that some of that is that what, and we'll get to a case like that in a minute. Okay, but here the case is that definitely there was like shared negligence essentially. Okay, and I say, it wouldn't have broken if you hadn't gone off the way. Well, it wouldn't have broken if you would have adjused properly. So who pays? So
but if it's just says, but if everyone did everything right and then just broke.
Right. So we'll see. I said we'll see that. So the Gemara says, okay, so Amar Papa did not get parsha mishalim. The one who holds Rashi says that sort of means the like yoke in the head. The one who's leading the animal pays. He was the one that sort of started the problem. He went off the path. Rav Shesha B'Reid Rav Idi Amar Dinakit Man Mishal. No, the guy who holds the peg in the back pays because he was the one. I mean, that's what broke, and maybe he was the one that was at the last moment to have saved it. Okay, so the hilchot on the halacha is Dinakit Man Mishal. Okay, now the guy who holds the peg. Now again, it doesn't say why that's the halacha. Does that mean that in some way there's more negligence? Like one way to measure negligence is what should you have anticipated and how sloppy were you being by not sort of seeing what was happening, right? So are we sort of saying that this guy was sloppier than the guy up front? Or are we basically saying, no, they both have the shared thing, but like as it were, this was the last guy in the chain. Like he was in the position that he could have stopped it at the end. So they were both negligent, but this was the most proximate negligence that caused
a grama type of thing you're going on.
Well, it's not grama. They're handling somebody's thing and they're breaking it.
No, but in other words, the guy, not the person who's holding the peg, but the person who's
it's an interesting question. Is it grama? It's a little like kocho or koachachem urbo. You're right. There's a degree of grama, but the other question is: are they chayv as mazik or are they chayv as shomer? They're sent with the owner's stuff, which the Gemara doesn't explore, which you're right, is an important question. The assumption sounds like it's mazik. So why the guy leading it is considered a mazik? Well, maybe that's part of why the guy in the back pays. But anyway, I also think it is a question about like proximate negligence, right? Which is an interesting point. Like, I'm trying to, whatever. I mean, I can imagine other cases like that, where the question is the person most proximate was at the last chain of the event who could have stopped it from happening, right? That's the negligence that most directly caused it. Okay, so now the Gemara says like this: it's the guy who's holding the peg. Now Tosfos has an interesting question. Tosfos says, "I don't get it," says Tosfos. What about? Tosfos says, "Look at those. Let's take up the Let's say the renter, did something wrong. I was negligent. I took it on the mountain, okay, which is rockier. But nevertheless, if you're being really careful, you can stop it. You can make sure it doesn't break on the mountain. So even in that case,
meaning you just won't go, or
no, you the workers. No, just be more careful. Don't push it in as hard. Look out for the rocks. Be more careful. Okay. So even if I'm negligent, right, you guys are the more proximate negligence. So why? And you guys are the ones handling it, right? So why, even if I started being negligent, why aren't you all? Why don't we still ask that one of you guys who are the workers should pay? It's a good question. Well, yeah, but there are other people here that are responsible. That's the point. So we have three different people we can point to. Why are we dafka pointing to the guy who did the first shinoi? If actually the conclusion of the Gemara is that the guy with the most proximate negligence. Okay.
Breaking his contract.
Well, that's what Michael is saying. So maybe right. So maybe according to Rabbi Meir, that says Kol Hamavir Al Das Balabais Gazlin, breaking a contract. That's one thing. But if you don't say Rabbi Meir and you say it's a question of negligence, everybody was negligent, right? So one guy was negligent first, and they were negligent afterwards. Now you could say that maybe the renter is a shomer, and these guys aren't shomrim, right? And so it's a different question from that perspective. Let's see what Tosa says. The Yeshlomer, the Hechder Shani Lo Mishalim, the workers don't pay. The Ma'arilisha Master Tapara Hu Asocher Tapalim, which was what we said. You hire the renters, okay? The owner of the cow rents out the workers. Leilich Parasa Velasos Melechas Hasocher. Well, here's why the workers don't pay in this case. The Amar Le Lamaskir, they say to the renter, to the owner, Anu lo isninu imcha ela lachrosh bebika, v'lo kibalnu shmiras hakankan bahar ela bebika. So we said, look, when we agreed to be rented out, we heard that the terms of the agreement were to do it in the valley. So our responsibility was to have the degree of care appropriate for valley plowing. Okay, so our whole relationship to you was the degree of care appropriate for those terms of the contract. Okay, but then listen to this. They can turn around to say, and we still want to get paid, by the way. Okay, why? Because you wanted us to listen to him. We listened to him. It's funny, like our relationship, what we get paid for is by following his instructions. And we did that, so pay us. What we're responsible to you for is for a degree of care appropriate for the original terms of the contract. So it's like an interesting split. We didn't do what the contract was. We were listening to him, but that's what we're being paid for, but not what our liability is to you. So anyway.
So you pay them a whole job?
Yeah, you pay them for the job.
Exactly.
Like, well, I don't know. If the job, I don't know. That's a different question. That's sort of like one of the earlier questions. If the job ended in the middle of the day. Okay, so now the Gemara goes back to the Gemara. Viduchta de machzaka gundari. Now, let's say it's a place where it's known that there are a lot of, stones and whatever. Okay, so both of the workers came in knowing that they needed to be extra careful. In that case, shneim travayim mishalmin. They both pay. Now that's interesting because even though they know that it's a stony place, so who cares? So they're both negligent. They were both negligent, presumably in the first case as well. Here there's just more negligence, right? But still, why isn't it the second guy who pays? Why is it that they both pay? So look at Tosfos again. Because in that case, there's a question who was more negligent. In this case, maybe if you know it's so rocky and you're the guy leading the cow, maybe you have maybe in that case you're even more negligent than me. But Tosfos says 1 minute. If there's a doubt, then neither of them should pay because then you can't prove who's negligent. Okay, the suffix Ella nearly says so. They're both negligent. Why? Here in the Machzaka Begundari. Right? It's very likely that this thing is going to break. Everybody goes in knowing we're going to need to be super careful. Okay? Super careful, but nevertheless, like if we said it's the guy in the back, that's more liable. Why isn't that true here? So listen to what he says. So the acharei shelo he's hero gamu pasha. Since we both go and know we have to be super careful, it doesn't just mean I have to be super careful at my job. It means that we know that we're going to have to be watching one another. Okay, this is a really delicate operation, so everybody's got to be really good at their job, and also everybody's got to watch out for everybody else. Okay, and therefore, even if it's the guy in the back who we sort of say is the proximate person, I'm partly negligent for his act, not just for my act, and therefore I also pay. It's a powerful idea, right?
Yeah,
so
very powerful.
Yeah, under what circumstances, right, is it so big that not just I have to be super careful for myself, but it becomes like a collective responsibility. Okay, so back to the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Somebody sells a cow and says to us, this is exactly the same case. Not exactly clear why the Gemara is throwing it in here, but whatever. Okay, and sells a cow to his friend and says, okay, now I didn't just say one of these. Michael, I'm selling you this cow, but I want you to know it's a goring cow, it bites, it kicks, and it crouches on things. Okay, so I told you all these problems. Now, now, the reality was one of those four things was present. And I appended it to all these other things. I snuck in the real problem amongst these list of fake problems. So you think that, Rashi says, basically you think I'm just listing all these things that aren't a problem to protect myself. So if after you buy the cow and you say, hey, Dove, it turned out that it was A, B, and C. I said, I told you it had all those problems, but you actually think that this is just total boilerplate. It's a totally fine cow. And I'm just saying this as a way to protect myself against future complaints because I list 10 problems. And you look at it and you can't imagine that it has all those problems and it doesn't look like it has any of those problems. Okay, but the reality is it had one of them. I just hid the real problem among the list. Okay, and now I can protect myself. So the halacha is hareze mekartos. It's a mekartos because in that case you can say you were not, you did not really believe that it had any of those problems, and therefore you were not pre-informed. And if I sell you a cow that actually has now it doesn't mean that any little problem you can retract, but if it had any one of these serious defects, it was a mekartos. And the only reason it would not be a mekartos was I could say I pre-warned you. Okay, so that's the basic point. I sold you a cow stam and it had a serious defect, mekartos. Here I'm trying to say I pre-warned you. And the response is you did not pre-warn me. When you gave me that whole silly boilerplate, none of it was serious. Okay, I didn't take any of it seriously, so that doesn't count as pre-warning. Yes.
So if I was to say, you're buying it as is with any defects, That's still not good enough because you're not taking it seriously.
No, that's an interesting. You're right. Like, why isn't there a case of as is? Well, it is sort of a case of as is. You're right. That's a good parallel. Like, these are final sales, sold as is, whatever. I wonder what happens if, let's say, here's an example. You go to a store and they're selling, shirts that are like slightly irregular. Okay, half price, as is. Okay, and you take it home and you open up the package and there's a huge ink stain on it, that you couldn't see from the package. Say, well, we said as is, No, there's an as is of sort of what you expect in the as is, and there's something like you don't expect. So it's a good point. I think that the point is that when somebody lists all these crazy things, it's sort of like saying as is, but it does, at the end of the day, you don't expect a real big defect. But that's exactly what the Gemara is dealing with.
So even if I say as is, I don't find any defects, and there's one major defect, I can still say Mekal Tov or return.
Right. So the interesting question about this is, what if the owner is not consciously doing this? I'm giving this boilerplate list. I don't know if it has any problem. I'm not trying to hide a problem. Right? That's a difference between like a sale where there's deceit and a sale where it's an error, but there's no deceit. Right? So I'm not trying to hide a problem, but at the other hand, you're not knowing to be aware of a specific problem. So that I was wondering that as well. Like, would that be the same as this case? Okay, but the basic point is that when you say this big list, it's not taken seriously, and specifically if the person is using it to hide a problem, and therefore it still remains a Mekal Tov.
It would be the same thing if I didn't say anything and I knew it had a problem. I didn't inform you.
That goes without saying. Here's just a chiddush that you said this list. Okay, so the Gemara says like this: Mum zeh umum acher ein ze Mekal Tov. Now, let's say I say to you, Michael, because this thing is a goring cow, and it's got other problems as well. Okay, since I only mentioned the one, and that was the one that had the problem, so maybe I threw in the other stuff as to protect me. But because I specifically, singled out that one thing, then it's not a Mekal Tov. Then you should have checked that one thing that I singled out, and you should have been aware that I was serious about it. Partly what Tosfos also says about this is that, now this isn't clear from the Gemara, is that when I made this whole list, right, the reason that it's not a Mekal Tov is because you could say, look, I checked one of those things and I saw it didn't have one, so I assumed it didn't have any. Okay, now that would require that you actually did check. Okay, on the other hand, in this case, if I could say it has this one thing, if you didn't bother to check the one thing I singled out, then that's your problem. Okay, but the bottom line is because it was singled out, you had to take it seriously.
It really reminds me of like those drug commercials, may cause this side effect.
Right. Anyway, the whole point though that you can hide something by putting it with other things. It's like there was there's a what do you call it? I think there's like this Irish folktale that somebody told me once when I was giving a shiur on the principle of Bal Tosif and Kol Mosif Gorea. So he told me the story. The guy catches a leprechaun. So you catch a leprechaun, he has to show you the pot of gold, right? So he brings him to this place in the forest, right? And he shows him, like where the pot of gold is hidden. And so he has to now go and get his equipment to dig it out, right? So he takes it's hidden beneath this tree. So he takes a ribbon and he ties the ribbon around the tree and he makes the leprechaun swear that he will not take off the ribbon. Right, when he goes back to get his shovel. So he goes back to get his shovel, right. He comes back and there's trees and there's ribbons on every tree. So there you go. So you hide it amongst everything else. All right, anyway. So the Gemara says like this, a good story, right? All right, the Gemara says, all right.
Yeah,
it's a true story. Okay, so I was there. Okay. Okay, a female slave. She's crazy, nichvisi, she has epilepsy, MSC, right, which Tosfos says is like also type of crazy, although I saw shiamum. Doesn't shiamum mean like boredom?
Yes,
yeah,
like
she's lazy or something. So you list a whole list. And one of those was actually the problem. Usnafo bein hamumim, and you appended it to all these other things, inserted it in this whole list. Then the person doesn't take any of the list seriously, and it was a real problem, and it's Mekal Tov. If you say this particular one and you mention one other, or you just say this one and others, it's not, because since this one was singled out, it is something that he should have checked. Amalei Ravacha Brei Ravashi, Ravacha Brei Ravashi, son of Ravacha said to Ravashi, Hayibo Kol Mumim Malo Mahu. let's say it actually had all of those things.
What's the question?
You listed all those things, because I still think you're just being silly. You're just saying this to protect yourself. What type of a cow has all those problems? So I don't take anything
But
you're
then what
saying
else could
seriously.
I have done? If I'm
Okay,
telling
so
you-
all right, so but let's see what the answer is. So I'm a labor. It's not a mekotas. So part of you're saying you could have done anything more, or you could have maybe said, "I'm really serious. Come, let me show you." Or Petoza says again that I, the buyer, could have checked any one of those and seen that it was accurate. So therefore, if I didn't bother checking anything on that list, that's my fault. Okay, next Mishnah.
So it means it's really a matter of you checking. In other words, like,
That's the way Tosfos frames it. That's not clear, but that's part of what Tosfos brings into the fact here. You rented a donkey to bring wheat, and instead you brought barley, and barley is lighter than wheat. Okay, so in that case, then you are chayav because why? Oh, because the assumption.
Which is lighter?
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Yeah, the barley is lighter. So why are you chayiv if you brought the barley? I mean, you actually, it was a less of a load, because the point is you actually brought it. We'll see the more specifics in the Gemara. You actually brought the same amount of weight. Okay, I said I'm going to take 10 pounds of wheat, and I took 10 pounds of barley, which is lighter. So what did I do?
10 pounds.
10 pounds. Right. Which weighs more? Right, a pound of feathers or a pound of lead? They both weigh the same. So I said 10 pounds of wheat, and I brought 10 pounds of barley. But barley is less dense. It's light, whatever. It's lighter per volume. So what did I do wrong when I brought 10 pounds of barley?
You had
I had extra volume. Exactly. So the extra volume means that I violated the terms of the agreement, and therefore I'm liable.
For what?
For the donkey trips and breaks its
The
leg.
assumption from the last Mishnah.
Right, something right.
Donkey
Exactly.
plots.
Something happened to the donkey. Okay. Or similarly, I say grain and I bring straw, which is lighter. Because volume, nefach, right, is difficult like weight. So there's going to be a debate exactly what this means, but for here we'll sort of say increased volume is a similar problem as increased weight.
Yeah.
So the same way, if you go beyond the weight limit that was agreed to, if you go beyond the volume that was implied by that weight limit, you've also violated.
What about the other way around?
Okay. No, more weight is clearly.
No, not more weight.
Like, you say I'm going to bring
the more dense stuff.
I'm going to bring 3 bags of what do you call it? Of straw, and you bring 3 bags of grain.
Like,
so of course you're chayav.
No, Soren would be a lechitim. The same 10 pounds, but now Soren is more volume. Now it's the same weight but less volume.
So that's fine. What do you mean?
That's fine, right?
Of course. Okay. So the problem is when it's more. Okay. So if you say a certain weight and you bring the same weight of something less dense, you violated by doing more volume. If you say a certain volume and you bring the same volume of something more dense, you violated by adding more weight. Okay. Shanafach kash kamasur. Lahavi letach chitim. Now to bring a letach of chitim, a letach is a lot. It's like a 30. What do you call it? Calves. No, 30 sa'ah. Excuse me. Okay. So I looked this up last night. A kav is, hold on, I'll tell you.
I think you could see the chamor.
It says here, Lechus is half, be 15 saying.
What?
Be 15 saying, because a core equals 30 saying. And the left here says it's half a core.
It's a good animal
Hold
rights.
on.
This would be 15 saying.
Hold on.
As opposed to in charging interest.
I wonder if this is like the U-Haul and it has a weight limit and you overstuff it.
Right. Hold on.
The animal rights activists protest learning this.
Okay. So now here, these are volume measures. Okay. However, the following is volume measures. Okay. Okay. So a sa'ah is about 1.5 liters. Okay, so everybody knows how big like a 1.5 liter bottle of soda is? So that's approximately what a sa'ah is. Okay? And that is equal to 6 kav. Okay? So there are, how would I do this? Anyway, okay. It's 6 kav. Anyway, it's 1.5 liters. So a kav is, how much? Anyway, fine. Okay, and then there are 1 minute. A letech is 15 sa'ah, so that's what David was saying, and a core is 2 letech. Okay, or 30 sa'ah. Or 30 sa'ah. Okay, and this is 15 sa'ah, which is, I guess, 90 kav. All right? So anyway, that's basically the arrangement. Now, so you said you were going to take a letech of grain, which is about, so the letech is 15 sa'ah. So that's like 15, 1.5 liter bottles of soda, okay, to give you an image, okay? So, Lahavi letechitim, you're going to bring letechitim. Okay, like those 15 soda bottles worth. Okay, the heavy letech seorim, and you brought that volume of seorim. Putter, you're a putter, obviously. Same volume, less weight. Now, if you add weight, you're chayav. So if you keep the weight and add volume, you're chayav. You keep the volume and it's less dense, obviously you're not chayav. If you add weight, even if you don't add volume, obviously you will be chayav. Okay, the kama yosif al mas'ovi chayav. How much weight would adding make you chayav? Now you agree to do a letech, which is you could a letech, right? Which is a sa'ah, which is 1/15. If you increase the amount agreed by 1/15, you're chayav. Okay, Rabbi Meir. I'm sorry. Sa'al gamal shlosha kavim lechamor. And so camel is, camel basically can, we'll actually see how much you originally agreed. But here we're going back to the donkey case. The donkey case, you said that you're going to do a letech, and it says that if you did three kav, okay, so you agreed to do a letech for the donkey. We don't know how much. We don't know how much you agreed for the camel. But talking about the donkey, the case was you agreed to do a letech, which is 90 kav. And if you increase that by 3 kav, which is an increase of 1/30th, that's considered to be that you violated your agreement. You can't go 1/30th over the weight that you agreed upon. Okay? So the basic assumption in the Gemara, whatever, is that that's true regardless of the person or the animal that's doing the schlepping. So if, for example, we say that the allowable overage for a camel is double this, what do you call it? Is what do we say the overage for a camel was? A se'ah, then that means that a camel can actually, which is 6 kav, then that means that a camel can actually carry 30 times that, right? Which is like 180 kav. Whatever the overage is, we assume that the overage represents 1/30th of what the normal sort of tolerable weight for that thing is. So if we're saying the acceptable overage for a donkey, right? If the acceptable overage for a donkey is 3 sa'ah, then we're saying that's the overage. Then we're saying that its tolerable weight limit is 90 sa'ah, okay, which is a letech, right? A letech was 3 kav.
Why wouldn't we just
90
say how much they could carry? Why, like this feels backwards.
Well, no, you did say. Meaning you said we agreed that you could carry, meaning there's one general interesting question, which is if you didn't say specifically, is there a presumed default for certain animals, right? But the case in the Mishnah was that you agreed that it could carry, that you were going to do it for a letech. And the Mishnah is for a donkey, and it's telling you acceptable overage for a letech, which is 90 kav, it's 3 kav. But from that we infer that the general accepted overage is 1/30th, right? Okay.
So should we assume also in terms of volume, then there is some leeway?
So that's going to be an interesting question. Let's say you kept the weight and you increased the volume. How much is there? Is there a little bit of volume that you can still, a little bit of acceptable overage, right? So let's look at the Gemara. Itmar, what's that? Abaye Amar Kasha Kimasoitnan, that the increased volume is like increased weight. It's as difficult as increased weight. Virava Amar Kasha Limasoitnan. No. It's not making equivalency. It's saying that increased volume, makes the burden harder for the animal, but it doesn't tell you how to measure the impact of increased volume. You understand the difference? Abaye is saying the measure of increased volume is measured the same way that increased weight is measured. Rav is just saying no. By increasing the volume, you make the burden for the donkey more difficult, but you're not saying exactly what you're doing. Okay. Now, so the question is like this. So, volume is like weight. The emosive shlosha kavim chayav. So the same way by weight, when you go 3 kav over of weight, you're chayav. So kav, by the way, the interesting thing here is that kav is a volume measure. Okay, so all these measures I put up on the board are volume measures. So if I basically said to I lent out my donkey to Jenna to carry a letech, which is 90 kav, and a 90 kav is a volume measure. Okay, we'll call it 90 liters. All right, of wheat. So she can't go over. She can't have an overage more than 3 liters of wheat. Okay, similarly, so it's interesting. The problem is weight, but we're measuring it by volume. All right. So therefore, if she actually chose barley, which was lighter, and she went over 3 liters, right? It's the same problem. The overage is we were initially concerned about weight, and we were assuming a certain weight because we were assuming wheat, and we measured the overage was defined in terms of how much volume you're going to go over. Don't take 3 extra bags of wheat. Let's talk about it as if it were bags. You're going to take 90 bags of wheat. That's a certain weight. You're not allowed to take, if you went over, you'll be violating when you've taken 3 extra bags, okay? So even if you took barley and it weighed less, you violate when you take 3 extra bags, okay? Because the increased volume is just as problematic as the increased weight. All right, so now that's the way Abai says it. No. Increased volume, it makes it more difficult, but it's not the same way to measure. Takla ki takla, okay? The weight, when the weight is equivalent, that's when it's a problem. So Rav is much more lenient, I guess, for the renter. Rav says volume does not start to be a problem as long as the weight is less. Okay, volume is like a very amorphous problem. So it's like it's an infant. It's just enough to be a violation by itself. So if I agreed to 30 bags of wheat, and I took 45 bags of barley, and that weighed less than 30 bags of wheat, according to Rava, I'm putter. But if 46 bags of barley equals the weight of the wheat, then I'm chayav. Why? Because I have increased volume. So do you understand? For Rava, the point is, if your weight is exactly the limit, then the increased volume is a violation. But if your weight is under the limit, then we can't hold you for the increased volume. All right, so Rava, it's a much bigger leniency. Abai just says, I don't care what's in the bags. I don't care if it's lighter or heavier. I treat it as if it's the original weight. And if you have more volume, you violate it, okay? Whereas Rava says, no. It only begins to be a problem once the weight is the same. All right, so now the Gemara says like this. Tanan, let's see who this works like. Okay. Lahavi letech chitim, vehevi letech seorim pater. So you now brought the same amount of barley, you're exempt, but if you add, you're chayav. Now that sounds like you have the same 30 bags, now it's of barley rather than of wheat, and it sounds like any addition now, any overage is going to be chayav, right? The standard overage of the, of the 3 bags. You have 90 bags, and any overage of the 3 bags, you're going to be chayav. My lav shloshis kavin. That sounds like as soon as you have the equivalent, as soon as you have the same volume, the standard overage rules apply. And that sounds like Abaye. So you have the 90 bags, it's barley, it's not wheat, but it's the same 90 bags. And it says, any addition, you're chayiv, meaning the standard overage, the 3 kav. So that's like Abaye. I keep on saying saw when I mean to say kav. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you. I'm going to say bags. We're going to do with 90 bags. Okay. So it sounds like once you have the same volume, the same law of the 3 bags overage applies. The Gemara says, no. At that, 3 would not be enough. You would need a sa'ah, which is 6. Okay, presumably, once you're 6 bags over, it weighs the same. And now that it weighs the same, now you're higher for the increased volume. All right? So the Gemara says, V'halak tani, 1 minute, we teach on that. V'kami Yosef al-Masavi chayev. How much would you add and you'd be chayev? That it's a sa'ah for a camel, but it's 3 bags for a donkey. So it sounds like we're talking about a case that you brought barley, it weighs less, it's the same amount of bags, and it sounds like it's the same rule. 3 bags over, you're chayav. So that sounds like Abaye, that it really doesn't matter what's in the bags. It all, it's all treated the same. So the Gemara says, no, no, this is how to read it. If you did not make a change, you said wheat and you brought wheat. So in the barley and you brought barley. In that case, when you did the right thing that you contracted, how much overage are you allowed? In that case, so if it's the same density and everything is the same and the volume is the same, that's when it's a 3-bag limit, the 3 bags overage. Okay. When, however, it's something lighter, then according to Abaye, same rule. I don't care if it's lighter. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You have your 90 bags, 3 over. You're chayav. I don't care if it's lighter or heavier. Okay. That's Abaye. Rava says no. If it's lighter, then you're no problems until you've hit the weight limit. Once you hit the weight limit, then we get you for the increased volume. But until that, no problem. And you'll hit the weight limits when you go 6 bags over in the barley wheat case. That happens to be the reality. Okay. Did you have a question, Dana?
Just if it's the same, if it's barley and it's the same volume,
right?
And it's the same weight of barley. It's
no, it's not the same
density.
weight. No, barley isn't. Barley is lighter.
No, I'm saying barley to barley. If you brought.
Oh no. So that's the last
part.
part. When you said barley and you brought barley, you're chayav when you do the 3 extra bags because of the weight increase. Okay. When the overage is 3, if it's purely a weight issue, you did exactly what you were supposed to, but you brought. It's like you're going on the airplane, right? It has to fit in a certain thing and it has to weigh a certain thing.
If it's barley,
right,
and you were supposed to bring barley, and you're fitting in the volume that you were supposed to have, you're not going to go over the weight because barley weighs the same as barley. That's what I don't understand. How
you mean you're also going over the volume when you go over the weight?
I don't see how you could go over the weight without going over the volume.
You are going over both, but clearly the weight is the thing that is the more obvious problem. Yeah, but we're not interested in the volume if we can get you for the weight. The weight is the bigger problem, right? So if you say barley and you brought more, then the first thing to focus on is that the burden weighed more, okay? But the basic definition is 3 extra bags, that's too much over, okay? So the question is, when it's barley, when you said wheat and you brought barley, and it's less, so Abaye says, I don't care. Once it's the 3 extra, once it's you had the 90 bags you agreed on. I don't care if it's barley or wheat. 3 more is overage. End of story. Because I'm just as ready to look at this through a lens of volume as I will through a lens of weight. And Rabbi says no. As long as the weight is less, you're fine. Once the weight is the same, we chop you on the volume. Yes.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you wrote on the board. You have there 1 letach is 1.5 saw.
No, 15.
Okay, thank you.
But this is like the luggage on the plane.
Exactly.
If the bag is too heavy, you get things.
Right.
If you have
too big of a bag.
Right.
Too big of a bag, or you need
right.
two
But there's
bags,
separate criteria. Here the problem is we're sort of conflating it. We have one that's the primary, and we're sort of conflating the other into it. Okay, so the Gemara says like this. Tashma, come in here. Lahavi letachitim behavi. You said you were going to bring a letech, and you brought, which is 15 sa'ah, and you brought 16 of sa'orim. Okay, now that's 1/15 increase. That's a bigger increase, right, than normally. Normally, we get you when it's 1/30th increase. Here we're going to get you only when it's 1/15th of an increase, right? We give you more latitude. Chayav. Okay, so that sounds like, why are we giving you more latitude? Because you were dealing with a lighter load. So it sounds like Rava, that when actually it's a lighter load, we don't chop you as soon as it's 1/30th over. We're only going to chop you when it's 1/15th over. Okay? Hashloshas kavim patr, if it was only 3, you'd be exempt. So look, this supports Rava. When it's barley, right, we don't chop you immediately when it's 1/30th over. We're only going to chop you when it's a 15th. So Targum Abaye says no, b'mechiksa. So what does mechiksa mean? There's a debate. Does that mean that it's extra light barley? So because it's extra light barley, there are times that Abaye won't treat volume the same as weight if the stuff is particularly light. Or does it mean mechiksa means like a very precisely measured as opposed to like a generously measured? How much do you measure it? Like there, everything exactly flat or whatever. How much? A stuffed bag doesn't have to be exactly fit bag. Okay, it depends how nice the guy behind the counter is when you're trying to get the bag on the plane, right? So Abaye says, no, actually, it really is a problem when it's 3 3, but when it's 3 over, but 3 over measured generously, which is 6 over, measured not generously or whatever. Anyway,
Rashi is really interesting on this word.
yeah, I know, but I don't want to get into it. Tana Rabbanan, we're behind. Kav l'chatef. Okay, so anyway, that's a debate of Abai and Rava, whether it's basically volume is the same issue, or it's just some abstract additional problem. Tana Rabbanan, Kav l'chatef. Now, how about for somebody who's a personal schlepper, a person? So how much is his acceptable overage? A kav, okay? Which means that an animal can take a letech, which is, an animal's overage is 3 kav. Okay, a donkey's overage is 3, a person's overage is 1, and a camel's overage is 6. Okay, which means that a donkey can carry 90 kav, or 90 kav. A person can carry 30 kav, and a donkey can carry 180 kav. Okay, and what did we say a kav was? Well, if you divide by 6, then you get my bottles of soda. So that's actually quite light for a person, because 30 kav is really only.
But that's the overage.
What? 30 kav is really only like no. This is the overage. The overage is 1 bottle is 1 kav. Okay. So, but 6 kav for one of those 1.5 liter bottles of soda. I mean, he gets it filled with wheat. Still doesn't seem so big, right? So 30 kav would be my 5 soda my soda bottles. Okay, filled with wheat. So I think even I, who am not in the world's best shape, could probably schlep more than 5 soda bottles worth of wheat. But I don't know, maybe it would be like really. What? Yeah, anyway.
How far are you carrying?
Exactly. Oh, that's a good point, too. You're right. How far am I carrying? Okay. So anyway, kav l'katev. So a porter, 1 kav over is a problem. Adriv le'areva. Now, if an areva is a small little raft boat, so how much can a boat carry? How much is overage for a boat, like overage for a plane, right? So Rashi says, adriv, means a, what do you call it? Rashi says an adriv is a letech. It's another word for a letech. So 1 letech overage for a boat, which means a boat can carry 30 letechs. And kor lisfina, 1 kor overage for an areva is like a raft. Okay, 1 kor overage for a boat, for a medium-sized boat. Shlosha korim leborni gedola, and 3 kor overage for a big ship. Okay, Amar Mar. So now let's unpack this. Kav l'katef. So for a person, 1 extra kav, right? So 1/6 of a soda bottle, that's considered overage, right? Which is pretty small. Okay, so the Gemara says 1 minute. Well, how can you go ahead and I agreed to be a schlepper for you. You put too much weight on my back. You went over, and I'm saying to you, you have to pay for my doctor bill. I tripped, I injured myself. You have to pay because because of the overage. Why didn't I do something about it, right? When I saw you were putting too much, like I accepted it. If I let you put too much on me, okay? It's not like you rented my donkey and you put on it without me knowing. You put this on my back.
Are we talking about? We're not talking about slaves. We're talking about
right. People who rent themselves out as porters, right? So im isa de lo matzi bay. If I realized when you put that overage on me that I couldn't handle it, so bardasu. So I'm an intelligent being. L'shavye, let me just throw it off me. How can I now go and blame you? If I was willing to accept it, I implicitly agreed to accept it. So Amar Baye b'shechovtu la'alter. As soon as you put it on, I collapsed. Okay, so therefore, I can't. You can't say, oh well, Dove, you saw I was putting on extra and you were okay with it. As soon as you put it on, I can't. I had an injury. 1 minute. Rava Amar a few of them even if the injury didn't happen immediately. Lo tzricha ela la'agra yisera. Fine. I implicitly agreed to it, so I don't get to have a complaint to you that like you caused me injury, but now I can charge you extra. I can say, hey, you put extra on my back. Fine, I agreed to it. The same way I implicitly agreed to take extra, you implicitly agreed to pay for extra. Yeah. So, okay. So Rav Ashi Amar, who savar chushu who did not get lay? No. I could feel that it felt heavy, but I didn't know that that's because you put more than we agreed. I assumed you put what we agreed. I thought, maybe I didn't get a good night's sleep last night. So I didn't realize that was the problem, that I should do something about it. I never accepted it, and it was your fault. Okay?
That's what I said. I mean, would you really be able to tell someone put like an extra?
Right.
Maybe
So that's an interesting
Yeah.
question.
I think so.
It's a small amount. It's a 1/30th increase. I don't know. Anyway, but it's increase. It's interesting. Like, who has a responsibility to be watching and measuring and determining?
Right.
Okay, so Rav Ashi, okay, so Kor L'Sfina, Shlosha Korin Leborni Gedola, Amar Papa Shmami Nastam Sfina Batlas in Korin. So because we're assuming it's 1/30th, if a Kor is an acceptable overage for a boat, a standard boat has to be able to port 30 Kor. The relevance is that if you buy a boat and and then it's presumed that it has storage facilities for 30 Kor, and if not, then the guy cheated you. Okay, let's at least get a little start on the next piece.
Rabbi, there's also the psychology. If somebody really wants to work, they might, take on the extra load,
Right.
even if they felt it because they.
But then you have no complaint. Because if you needed work that bad that you were willing to go against the normal, the normal
Right.
parameters, then fine. Those were the
You accept
agreements.
it.
Don't complain to me.
Okay.
Kolunim shomer
That
sachar.
would permit sweatshops, though.
What? Yeah, that's
Permit
true.
sweatshops.
So that's an interesting question. Is there anything in halacha that prevents people from contracting for very disadvantageous thing if they need the money? So that's an important question. Okay, kol unim shomer sachar. All craftsmen are shomer sachar. I give you my wood to go build a box for me, and then something happens to the wood. Like, not you broke it, some ganavim snuck in or something like that. Okay, you're a shomer sachar. Now, why are you a shomer sachar? I am paying you, but I'm not paying you to watch it. I'm paying you to turn it into a box. But maybe the fact, so this is what the Gemara is going to figure out. Maybe the fact that I'm giving you employment is considered like a benefit you get from me. What is the additional benefit you're getting from me rather than the trade of my money for your labor? What's the additional pay you're getting that makes you a shomer sachar? So the Gemara is going to figure that out. Okay? But as soon as you call me up and say, Dove, your thing is ready, come take it away, okay? And pay me, and pay me, then you're a shomer chinam. The Gemara is going to say, but if you said first pay me, after you pay me, you can come take it, then you're still like in your, as an uman, and you're still in that capacity, and you're still a shomer sachar. But once you say, no, you can pick it up immediately, you'll pay me after, okay? You're not holding it until I pay you, then your basically employment has ended, and now you're just a shomer chinam. Shmur liv eshmur l'cha shomer sachar. If I say, David, watch my knapsack here. I got to run do a thing, and I'll watch your knapsack tomorrow. I know you have to do something. Then we're shomer sachar for one another. We're paying each other for the service that we're doing in exchange, right? Which is funny, because you could have said that we're just doing favors and we're shomer chinams, right? And we're just reciprocating favors, but we're translating it as a type of a payment. I'm paying you with my shmira, you're paying me with your shmira. Okay, shmur li v'amrei hanach lefana. I say, David, watch my knapsack. I got to go run do something. He says, put it down. Okay, so you never said yes. You just said put it down. Okay, so shomer chinam, you're a shomer chinam. Now the chiddush there is, you could have said you're not a shomer at all. You just said put it down. You didn't say yes. Okay. Let's say I lend you money and you give me some collateral. My responsibility to that collateral is, and then the collateral breaks. You gave me your iPhone to watch as collateral, to gave it as collateral for the loan, and it broke. I'm a shomer sachar. So what's my sachar? Where was I getting paid to watch it? Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Haveu mos shomer chinam. No. Normally, lend of money, and you're watching, and you have the collateral. You're shomer chinam. Haveu peiros shomer sachar. If I lent you fruit, now how could you lend fruit? That's basar. That's the whole last paragraph. But we won't worry about that right now. I'm a shomer sachar. Why am I shomer sachar? Because I'm lending you fresh apples, and in a week from now, you're going to give me back fresh apples. So you actually did me a favor because those apples would have gone bad had you not, if they had been sitting around in my house. So ironically, it's almost seen like you a little bit did me a favor by borrowing it because it could have spoiled. Okay, so then because of that favor, I'm a shomer sachar. If I've got here David's iPhone and David's very poor and I don't know if he's ever going to be able to pay back my loan, then what I could do is I could rent out his iPhone on a daily basis, and use all the proceeds from it to pay off David's loan. So I can use his mashkon and rent it out, presumably without his permission, in a way to pay off his loan for his behalf. Okay, so it's pretty interesting. I mean, we understand it's nice for David, but it's giving me a lot of liberties there. Let's take a look at the Gemara. Let's just get started. Lema masnisin blok Rabbi Meir. Let's say our Mishnah that says an uman is a shomer sachar is not like Rabbi Meir. The time we talk in Brisa, socher ketzim nishalem. How about a renter? A renter is like an uman in the following way: money changes hands, okay, but it's for an equal exchange. I'm paying you for your car, so you're not. So, but what makes me a shomer sachar? What benefit did I get from you? I got a benefit that you gave me your car, but I paid for that benefit. Okay, so I'm benefiting from you, but I paid for it. Am I a shomer sachar or not? And the same is true by an uman. I'm paying you to build me a box. You got something from me, my pay, but that's because of an exchange, because you're giving me your labor. But does the fact that you're getting my pay still make you a shomer sachar? Okay, so the Gemara assumes that an uman and a socher would be the same thing. So Rabbi Meir said, so what's a law about a renter? Ketzim Shalom, Rabbi Meir Omer shomer chinam. He's a shomer chinam on the car. He's paying for the rental of the car, and he's a shomer chinam on the car. Rabbi Yehuda Omer shomer sachar. No. It's like he's a paid guardian. So this sound, we're assuming an uman is like a socher. It sounds like that that this Mishnah that says he's a shomer sachar goes like Rabbi Yehuda that says a socher is a shomer sachar. So the Gemara says no. Afilu tema Rabbi Meir. An uman is not necessarily like a socher. A socher could be a shomer chinam. But here's the extra benefit the uman gets that makes him a shomer sachar. Okay, what is the extra benefit the uman gets? I gave you employment. The benefit that I gave you an employment, yes, you're working for it. But it's not an easy economy out there. You're very grateful to have the job. So the fact that I gave you that employment, that makes you a shomer, that benefit makes you a shomer sachar on my wood. Havilu shomer sachar. The says, so use the same logic by a socher. Socher nami. The fact that you're not renting out to anybody else, but you're renting out to me, that's a benefit to me. Now, of course, that's bizarre because you're in the business of renting and making money. You'd be happy to rent to anyone, right? And the person's need for employment tends to usually be greater than a person's need to be able to rent something. I mean, I don't know, you need to rent a donkey to play because it's part of your job, maybe not. But nevertheless, it seems a little bizarre. You can really hear the Gemara that the favor you do for somebody to give them employment is different, than the favor the renter does to rent you his car.
Well, renting is okay.
All right, Ella, afilu tema Rabbi Meir. Okay, fine. Let's make the distinction this way. So, okay, but you know what? When I pay you for building the box, we like round up. I'm not going to be super precise, so there'll probably be a little bit extra included in it. So that makes you a shomer sachar. So the Gemara says, okay, then that should work the other ways also. So chernami, by case of a rental, by a car, maybe I'm also giving you a little bit of a deduction. I'm renting it to you at a little bit of a reduced rate. Like, why do we assume that there's some extra money changing hands here? Why do we assume it is in one case and not in the other case? So that doesn't make sense. Ella, fine. Let's try it this way. A few tamer Rabbi Meir. Even with Rabbi Meir, what he says about that a socher is a shomer chinam. Here's why an uman gets extra benefit. And this is what the Gemara concludes with, because you're holding my box, and the fact is you can hold that until you get paid. So that's the benefit you get. That you have a way of making sure that you get paid. Okay, I paid you for your work. You gave me your labor. That was an equal exchange. Now you have leverage on me to get you the money that I owe you. But that makes, by holding on the box. So that benefit you get from holding on to the box, that you can use it as leverage, that makes you a shomer sachar on the box. Okay, you don't have to run after me for the money. You got that leverage, which doesn't apply when I rent your car. When I rent your car, you don't have any leverage on me to make sure that I'm going to pay you or anything like that. I don't have any leverage on you. Okay, so there's no benefit there. So you could be a shomer chinam. And the last answer of the Gemara is what?
He's got his car.
Well, that's true, but what is the fact that I got your car? What does it do for me? It doesn't give me
leverage.
leverage to do what?
Not return it.
But in order to extract, to get what from the guy? Meaning here, there's a reality that you need to get paid,
Right.
and you have the thing that's going to help you get paid. Right? The fact that I have this guy's car, what does it do for me? That I could steal it? I mean, that's not a benefit,
that's
right?
the only thing.
Okay. Ebai saying, and if you want, you could say, look, you're right. A socher is like an uman, and whatever's true about a socher is true about an uman. But we don't know that our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Meir. Why? Because there's a debate. Who says what when it comes to a socher? Kinamakli from Rabbi Baravua reverses it. V'tani socha ketzim mishalem. Reb Meir omer kishomer sacha. Reb Yehuda omer kishomer chinam. He reverses it. So is our Mishnah Rabbi Meir, Reb Yehuda? We don't know because nobody knows what they hold about a socha. But the other more interesting question is, why should a socher be a shomer socher and why should an uman? And the Gemara gave interesting reasons, at least one in the end that it concluded, which is that you can use it as leverage. That's a type of a benefit that should make you into a shomer socher. That seems to be the one the Gemara settles on. Okay, thank you for staying a little later. We'll end here.